Our next piece or panic. Piece or panic from No Name for God. The Nuggets should trade for a veteran point guard like Mike Conley. Outside of Jamal Murray, they have Bones Highland, Ish Smith, both of whom are nursing some minor stuff. And I feel the Nuggets would benefit hugely from an experienced court general slash scorer. How would that trade look? And so I guess the first piece or panic here is, do you think the Nuggets need a trade for a veteran floor general?
That's an easy piece for me because this is a top five offense with some underperformance so far. And you have Jokic, who's essentially one of the best point guards in the league, just at a different size than you're used to seeing. Murray, I think, has had a couple flashes, generally disappointing. He's going to get better. I think Highland, defensively, basically my macro take is like the Nuggets are fine on offense. I'm not concerned with them having enough facilitation with the offense running fine. Like in the minutes that matter, Jokic is going to have the ball, and I trust that there'll be good results offensively. If Jokic gets hurt, Mike Conley's not going to save you. So I don't, and then that ties into the other part of the question is like, there really isn't a realistic way to get someone like Conley, who's making 22, just a little under 23 million this year, non-guaranteed 24 and a half next year. Because you're trading Aaron Gordon, you're trading Caldwell Pope and somebody else to make that happen. So if you want to go looking for so I'm not giving up an asset to try to get someone like Conley, who I think just wouldn't play a big enough role or wouldn't improve you enough in the ways you need to improve, like defensively, for example, to really justify giving up what would be a significant, like a starter level asset potentially just for salary matching purposes.
Mm-hmm.
So, just looking at like the free agent point guards that are still unsigned are bad. Like if that's the concern, like is DJ Augustine better than Ish Smith? I mean, the fact that one's employed and the other's not suggests that's an easy answer. I mean, like Rondo, Eric Bledsoe, like I don't see. So I basically like this is a chill, like piece is fine here because the Nuggets offensively have been great without like a conventional point guard forever. Monte Morris was good in that role. I think their offense is still great and will be great and, championship caliber without him. Defense is going to just be the problem and I don't see a point guard one you'd have to give up something big to get like fixing that. Right.
Yeah, like, could you maybe do something for TJ McConnell just because the salary is smaller there? I don't even think let's say the Brooklyn Nets tear it down, I don't think Patty Mills really gives them what they're looking for. It's a piece for me too. And I think also they've started to find, if you're worried about Bones Highland remaining healthy, okay. But they started to find like bench units that have Michael when Jamal Murray and Jokic aren't playing and you have Bones and Michael Porter Jr. on the court. The Nuggets have a 118-2 offensive rating, and they're outscoring opponents by 12.5 points per 100 possessions. If you don't think that's playoff proof, that's fine. You probably shouldn't be in a situation where you have more than one star off the court anyway in a playoff series at this point, unless that lineup is straight killing it. I'm with you that the trade is too difficult to make, and that if you were going to make a swing, it needs to be bigger scale. And I don't think that you would look at the point guard market if you're going to do that. And that we actually have a question. I don't know if it's the next one, the piece or panic that gets into it. Yeah, after this one. So I wouldn't, if there's a smaller move to be made there, like, can you get TJ McConnell? Like, yeah, that just might be, you use, I guess, Ish Smith. And then, like, are you willing to move Zeke Naji at this point? He's banged up and you were touting his promise coming into training camp only to barely play him in the preseason. So I guess they could look at that, but I wouldn't view it as just like a need. I would view what we're about to discuss as like the more alarming aspect of this team.
Yeah, so let's get to that. And I'm really glad I'm throwing this to you because I have been thinking too much about Anthony Davis trades lately for work. So I don't want to deal with this until I hear you say it. This is from Nugs. The Nuggets defense remains average to crappy, and they trade MPJ for Jimmy Butler or KD. Where do
And
you want to start with that one?
I'm almost ready to say panic just because it's like their ball containment on what I've watched has been really bad. They're allowing opponents to shoot above 70% at the rim outside of garbage time, which is also, lo and behold, very
And
bad. Those two things might be related, by the
let me
way.
interrupt you. I'm sorry because that I fixated on that too, and then my knee jerk reaction was like, "God damn it, Jokic! Like this, you can never build a championship defense around him. It's not his fault. It doesn't look like it's his fault. Like structurally, maybe, but like they defend the rim better when he's in the game, and it really does just seem like It's the Rudy Gobert thing, the Utah thing. The guys on the perimeter don't stay in front of anybody, and so that's where the layup parade starts. Sorry, continue.
I will also say, but I will say, I wouldn't trade for Kevin Durant because this team doesn't need Kevin Durant.
Right.
He's, I don't want to say like, he's not the same player as Michael. He's better defensively than Michael Porter Jr. I want to get that clear, but like Kevin Durant isn't fixing your perimeter defensive issues. Nor is he might be, if you're looking for like a backline rim protector, okay, like he can do that stuff, but uh, Jimmy Butler would be the name you're throwing out there. I'm trying to think of just like another player. It depends on, look, all right, I'm going to phrase it this way. I'm going to say peace in this, or no, I'm going to say panic. That if you can, I don't think the defense is going to be good. I was high on, they were my championship pick. I don't think that they're like, going to be the worst defense in the league. I've even stopped checking on where they rank because it just makes me sad at how much I missed on their defense. They are 22nd. So they're actually a little bit higher than I thought right now. Everything's fine. So peace. But I panic in the sense that I don't think this is going to be a noticeably above average defensive team, and hope maybe they'll prove me wrong just so my title pick can look good. I just don't know. This comes back to like, what trades are you supposed to make? And it has to be, if you're moving Michael Porter Jr., one, does a team want him, knowing his chronic back injuries that he has? He is one of the greatest shooters in the league right now. Just to like, and I think he could do more in a larger role if you're not asking him to play make, because I just don't see it there. But like, what is the baseline return you're willing to move him for? Like, I'm just throwing this out there because I know he's not available. Like, would you move Michael Porter Jr. it would have to be a bigger trade for OG Anunoby?
That's the first name I thought of.
I'm not trying to pillage the Raptors roster. It's just like, that's the non-star type where you would give up real assets to acquire him.
Right. Like, that's the thing. I mean, so the other name, and this is so beyond implausible, never going to happen, that there's no point, but like someone like, as if there's another, like Evan Mobley, like someone that is long, that could switch, that could cover mistakes, that like when Bones Highland gets blown by, he, apparates from the 3-point arc to the rim and like snuffs it out. Like someone like that. Anunoby is going to shut down whoever he's on the ball guarding, but like, and the other thing is, it's disappointing, right? Because the theory of the team was, well, okay, so KCP, reputed as a good on-ball defender, maybe that's a little outdated, but still solid. Bruce Brown, like, basically stayed in the league because he could defend, and then the Nets turned him into a roll man. And then Aaron Gordon is supposed to be a good defender too. So really, like, it's Murray and Jokic that are killing your defense. And we've already said that Jokic, like, limited as he is, like, doesn't seem to be the real problem. So to me, I'm going to say peace. I think MPJ is just super valuable if he's healthy, because he's just a 5-alarm fire all the time. And he's the other, along with Jokic, like, he's the guy that makes this offense so good that you could have the 22nd ranked defense. And like, playoffs are a different story, but it's just, he's so valuable. And I don't know, like, Anunoby is an interesting guy. I think that's the type you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I would just hope that some of your preseason expectations of the defensive additions you made, like improving the defense, will sort of come out as we go forward, just because otherwise we're talking a drastic move. And I don't see an easy way to do that.
No, and like, they don't even have the imminent pick equity to do it. So it's like, if Dylan Brooks became available in Memphis for some reason, that's also what is the name? Jimmy Butler has to ask her out in Miami. You mentioned Anthony Davis, I'm assuming, is like a joke, but that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. But that you don't have the picks to do that. Is it Porter and picks? Like,
well, I mean, they're both have like Anthony Davis's chronic injury is getting injured. So right. Like, is there like a sort of an even swap there almost? But I'm just trying to think of the name. I mean, OG Anunoby was the one that sprang to mind because he's the archetype of player that I do feel like this team still kind of needs. There's no one even what would be interesting? But like, this might.
Draymond?
What?
Are you going to say Draymond?
Oh no, that would be interesting actually. Wow, I didn't think of that. I was going to say, like, I don't know if they're there yet, and we're going to talk about them later. But like, if the Clippers were just like, right, like, we're going to trade Paul George, like, that would be someone that would. And so, like, can you use Michael Porter Jr. though? Let's say if that type of player hits the block, does Michael Porter Jr. even give you an inlet to being involved in those discussions?
I have such a hard time putting a value on Porter Jr. just because, like, the injury questions are so legit, and so, but there's also no question that, like, when he's on the floor, he's the spacing he brings, that he can create his own shot. Just the shooting is it's the premium skill, right? It's the premium skill, and he's got it. So it's hard to figure out like what he's worth. I don't know. That's an interesting question, and the defense is the problem. That there's no doubt about that. Kind of looping these two Nuggets questions together.
I will say, so you went peace, I went panic. But if we were just to boil it down to the defense in general, would it both just be a panic there for Denver?
Yeah, mild for me, just because I do have some faith that the additions they made can get this up, into the say middle of the pack on defense instead of bottom 10, which is not it's not like a huge leap, right?
No.